Hi and welcome back. It's here. 1 year ago, we gave birth to soy sauce. Now, the incubation period for the soy sauce is minimum 1 year. I can let this go for another 2-3 years and it'll just get better and better. We're going to go ahead and separate the solids from the liquids. We're going to go ahead and bottle it up and let it age even more. You can still use it while it is aging. If you take a look at how brown this is, kind of looks not so nice. But after a while, after you separate everything else out, it'll actually get dark like this. This soy sauce is 2 years old, and it has been sitting in my fridge for 2 years. In fact, it survived the other refrigerator. So take a look at that. Now, if I just leave this in the jar for another 2-3 more years, it'll get dark like this. This is what I use in recipes to make things a little bit more umami. It's just 4 years old. It's just miso. It's just this, aged more. So it doesn't matter how old you have it, but it's at least 1 year old. Love this stuff. Let's talk about separating apparatuses. There's several ways that you can do this. You can do it by hand. Just put everything in a cheesecloth, put a bowl underneath it, and just hand squeeze. That takes a lot of strength that I don't have anymore. You can go ahead and use your tofu presses. Okay, I have a lot of these. I'm going to use these as well. Just put cheesecloth on the bottom. You put your lid on top and a weight. A brick, a rock, something that's at least 5 pounds. And I have a lot of these. Now, I bought this about, I want to say, a good 15 years ago on eBay. It is made to press. It is an apparatus that was handmade by somebody, and it still works. It's still functioning. It is we have a base with some screws, some plastic piping, a disc to put on top, let's go ahead and take that off, and then this sits in the screws, and we have wing nuts to secure those, and then we just press it down. It's like a regular rail press. We're going to be using this. This I found gets out the most of the liquid, because you can actually press it down. You're not independent on weights. So you're going to need a Tupperware big enough for it to sit in, and you're going to have your cheesecloth. You're going to line up the cheesecloth. Doesn't have to be perfect, because it's all going to bunch down anyway, and you're going to fold it over on top. Just make sure that the pipe is aligned with the wood. We're going to go ahead and pour some of the mash in here. And as if you can tell, it's already starting to separate just from the sheer weight. And you want to kind of let that settle for a little bit. Let it do its thing. And then we're going to put the top on. Now, I've used it so much that I've actually put a hole through the top. So I got another cutting board, cut out a circle, and we're going to put this on top. Looks kind of like an Oreo cookie, because I have this as another doing something else. But this will definitely work. You try to get this down as even as possible. You want to add a little bit of pressure, not enough pressure to have the mesh actually come out of the ends, but enough to where it's going to start separating the liquid from the solids. And in that, I've already got that much soy sauce out of it. This is going to take some time. This is an all-day project. Don't try to force it, because you don't want solids in your soy sauce. I'm going to tighten this down. And then just little bits of pressure at a time. While that is pressing, okay, like I said, it's going to be an all-day project with this. We're going to go ahead and go over 2 condiments that you may want to make yourself. And I'll go ahead and show you how that's done. Sugar-free, mostly sugar-free. One is ketchup. Like I said, there are ketchup recipes out there. There are ketchup products out there that have no sugar. But watch for the maltodextrin and the dextrose. Those are just other types of sugar. Nothing with ethyl. Trust me, you don't want that. And we'll go ahead and show you how to make it by hand and in small batches. That way you can go ahead and make it to your liking. With mustard, you can make it regular mustard. You can make it spicy mustard, honey spicy mustard, herb spice mustard, whatever to your liking. Same way with ketchup. You can add horseradish to ketchup. You can add ginger to ketchup. You can make it an Asian style ketchup. If you had horseradish to it, it makes it more of a German style ketchup. It's just to your liking. We're going to go ahead and make a spicy honey mustard. And then we're going to go ahead and make a German style ketchup, because Grandma's got a lot of sausage. All right, so mustard. You get mustard seeds. You can ground the mustard seeds dry and make mustard powder. You can leave them whole and use them for pickling. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do with mustard. You can even grow the seeds and eat the greens that come out of it and just let them bloom, and you have more mustard seed. So it's a very handy spice to have in your home and to grow in your garden. What you want to do to make the mustard paste is you want to soak your mustard seeds for 24 hours in a combination equal parts of water and vinegar, whatever vinegar you're going to be using. Today I'm using apple cider vinegar that I made. So because it'll give it a little bit more sweeter flavor. And once that's done, you're going to drain the mustard seeds out, because you don't want the diluted vinegar to go in here. You want straight vinegar to blend everything up. Now you're going to get your blender out. Now I've gone ahead and soaked 1/4 of a cup of mustard seeds. Like I said, this is going to be a small batch. Try to get all of them in there, because they like to stick to the bowl. Then we're going to also add 1/4 cup of vinegar. Like I said, this is the homemade vinegar, so it's a little bit more potent than store-bought, and it is live, so it has all the probiotics in it. Now we're going to add 1 tablespoon of honey, about a tablespoon. And to make it spicy, you can either use your red chili flakes, which in this one would make it way too spicy. So I'm going to use smoked paprika, and about 1/4 of a teaspoon to 1/8 of a teaspoon, depending on your spice level. So about, ooh, too much. Not much? 2 pinches. Make sure it gets all down into the bottom here. And the more you blend, the more it's going to become a paste. Now, if it doesn't, if you think you've added too much liquid, add mustard powder to this. See how thick that is? Now, doing it this way, it makes it more of a stone ground and very hot type of mustard. It's not your store brand mustard. It's spicy. It's a dippin' mustard. Don't put this on your sandwiches. If you want something put on your sandwiches, you're going to need something a little bit more watered down with a thickener. I recommend not putting straight vinegar into this. If you're doing a type of a sandwich mustard, I recommend half and half, like what you soaked the mustard seeds in, to be able to get it down, the hotness down to a more tolerable level, because mustard is incredibly spicy. Also, use an immersion blender, because doing it this way, you're going to get chunky. You're not going to get all of everything, but you are going to be able to use this as a dipping type of mustard. I find that mustard has, if you do it this way, it has more of a horseradish type of feel to it. Your nostrils will let you know how spicy it is. Your tongue, it will set your tongue on fire if you try to take a huge bite out of this. See how thick that is? That's just plain mustard. That's just mustard, vinegar, and a few spices. Now we have the spicy mustard already made. We're going to use that as an ingredient in the German style ketchup, because that is so much like horseradish. We don't need horseradish. But if you don't have the mustard available, you can use horseradish or horseradish powder, whatever you have that's spicy enough for you. Let's go ahead and get the spicy ketchup made. And just to let you know that all of this can be canned. You water bath everything. I don't recommend the soy sauce, because if you heat up the soy sauce, it's going to kill the fermentation that's happening. So the soy sauce won't get age in the refrigerator. But the mustard can be water bathed, and the ketchup can be water bathed, because each one of those has enough acidity in them to be able to survive a water bathing. You can probably pressure cook it or pressure can it, but I don't recommend it. Now this is going to have a few more ingredients than the mustard. Okay, we're going to use tomato paste or homemade tomato paste, whichever one you want. Okay, crushed tomatoes. Garlic and onion powder, allspice, ground cloves, ground cinnamon, so get out your pumpkin spice, apple cider vinegar, and a little bit of that mustard. You want to add a little bit of mustard to the ketchup to have a little bit of a zing. So we're going to go ahead and put this on medium right here and open up our cans. Now if you have already canned sauce, already canned tomato paste that you made, use that. But for science purposes, we're going to go ahead and do store-bought. Reason why I'm doing store-bought is because not everybody grows tomatoes. I don't grow tomatoes. I don't have room to grow tomatoes. Tomatoes is cheap enough for me to buy and process myself. A lot of people make it a priority in their garden. Me, I would rather have different types of peppers that I can't get in my area. Okra, garlic, and all of the medicinal, culinary and medicinal herbs to be able to do what I do. That's the reason why I built my shelves, is because most of that I grew in my garden. And I'm working on other herbs to where I can have just one side of herbs, at least for a little while. Okay, we want to go ahead and thicken everything up. Okay, we have one 12-ounce can of tomato paste, one 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. If needed, get out your whisk. If it's too thick, add more crushed tomatoes. If it's too thin, add more tomato paste. That's why I have 2 cans of tomato paste out, because I wasn't too sure how thick this was going to be. That's about the consistency of a good thick ketchup. Again, you want to add about a 1/4 cup of vinegar. Woo. This will thin it out a little bit, but we are going to go ahead and cook this down a little bit. Go ahead and taste test it now. If you think you need a little bit more vinegar, add it. This seems to be a large batch, so I'm going to go ahead and add another 1/4 cup. Go ahead and put in about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Turn that down a little bit. Okay, and about a teaspoon of onion powder, teaspoon of garlic powder, teaspoon of cinnamon, quarter teaspoon of allspice, and quarter teaspoon of cinnamon cloves. If you're using pumpkin spice, go ahead and use a full teaspoon. Now here's where you want to either add your horseradish or your mustard. And this is going to be to taste. I'm going to start with one spoonful. Of the mustard. And then taste. And that's all it needs. And you're done. You can add your sweetener to this too. If you want to use and make it a little bit sweeter, go ahead and put in your stevia. or whatever other sweetener that you want. But I find that tomatoes have their own sweetness the more you cook them down. The more you concentrate it, the more sweet, the sweeter that the tomatoes actually get. Alright, that is the first pressing of half of that bottle. So we're going to have a ways to go because I still have another gallon of this to press. Now, you know how light brown that was? Look at the difference now from whenever it was in its mash form. It's darker. And this will become this over time. It'll just get better and better and better so long as you don't heat this up and pasteurize it. If you want to keep it this color, go ahead and pasteurize it. This is called light soy sauce. If you want it dark soy sauce, you age it. Okay, so this is how I make my condiments. Yellow store-bought mustard tastes like water to me now because this stuff is so powerful. I use it to dip things. I don't. It's a flavoring, and it needs to be treated as such. But I do apologize for the shorter video. It is springtime. The storm that came through here did some damage to my gardens. I need to fix that. And we need to clean things up, and we need to get things started. I need to put in, I've already missed things like lettuce, spinach, chard, you know, all the cold weather stuff. I missed that because of life did happen to me this year. But we'll go ahead and start working on the gardens, getting everything ready. I do have some strawberry starts that I need to plant and hang. There is some roses I do need to plant, and my rosemary bushes didn't make it either this year again, which is very upsetting. Even though I have about 5 years worth of rosemary, I still like having it in my garden. Now, the peppers didn't make it. I tried. I brought them in to, try to get them as best as they, strong as they can, and they still didn't make it. So we're going to have to start some seeds, which I have seeds left over from the peppers that came off of those plants. So we're going to go ahead and get those planted. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.